Mr. Venom Staff, good evening. Fancy seeing you here on a Saturday night. Just a little bit of setup and tune up, mate. Been far too long between lives and everything was not working, but it seems like we are back on track. Just having a quick look at a couple of clutches that pipped out already. There's the little blackheads were very early this year. A couple of nice little pinstripey, very reduced pattern ones in there again, which is nice. All just getting ready for their first shed. Filled with typical blackhead attitude. Not a bad first clutch for the season. One of the Snow by Caramel Doublehead Xanthic Albino clutches out. I was hoping last weekend to get a live show going, but massive technology disasters. It looks like we had pretty good odds here. A lot of white ones in there, which is nice. You never get bored of seeing white snakes hatch. It is time for a few drinks, mate. I will be certainly having a couple later on. Nice little ghost in there as well. It's like 5 white. It's not so bad. Fortunate now to be using the Snow male for the last few years. Makes it much easier than doing double head to double head. Chasing the 1 in 16 and 1 in 32. Certainly now getting much more fun, seeing more visuals every year. Not a bad bunch. Hi, Christy. How are you? Oh, there's a little Xanthic like Cody's. There's one. Hope he's chilling out tonight, looking after his snakes. This clutch I was hoping to get cut last week. This was one that was potentially exciting stuff in. Technology said no. This was the first of the double head pepper granite clutches that are all Poshead albino as well. And all these girls are quite young, quite small. Well, they're 2.5. They're just not massive compared to some of the other girls that live here. So I think I don't know how many in this clutch. I think this is at 8 or 10 or so. And there certainly is not what I can see a pepper granite. Looks like there was 3 granites. I think 1 pepper. The granites certainly have a much darker look. There's this one down here. It must be the Murray influence. The really dark color granites, but all 3 of the granites have just normal looking eyes, so no solid black eye. I would say we have not hit the pepper granite as yet. There's one on top. But interesting to see how dark some of them look. They actually look xanthic when they first popped out. But we still chase the magic pepper granite, and I would certainly like to see some albino stuff pop out in other clutches. Somewhere in here there is a pepper. Yeah. This one here. Solid black eye on that fella. That's the only pepper in the clutch. But there is 2 more of those clutches coming due in the next couple of days. So hopefully we'll get to see something a little bit new and exciting. Pepper granite's been a little while to get going. We're getting close now though. Now, Mr. Bourneman. Good evening, sir. Yes, technology, I'm blaming it. It hates me. And you know exactly what it is. It's lack of use. After 2 years of a battery sitting doing nothing, of course it was not going to work. It was never going to charge. Quick Amazon delivery, we've got it sorted. This was a cool clutch. These things are very keen to get out of this tub. A few of them starting to go into shed already. This is one of the triple head granite albino xanthic clutches. Good size clutch too. I think it was about 23, 24. Certainly a few stunners. They're all trying to escape this tub. Another little ghost granite, which I was very happy to see. Where is he? Under here. Super, super light one, this boy here. And pretty much as soon as he left the egg, I popped him, and he is a boy, which is excellent news for me after 3 girls a couple of years ago. A boy now is absolutely fantastic. And a beautiful light, a really exploded pattern on him too, which is one of the really, really nice granites. Yes, it's not very focusing that brilliantly. Let me try and move this camera up, as you say. Good variety pack in the triple clutches. They always a mystery bag. Even this white one, which I have no idea what it is. Very nice colour and pattern. I'm sure it's a snow. There's plenty of yellow on it up the top end. But after that, no idea. Maybe snow granite jag, maybe just a snow, maybe snow jag. But definitely a different look to it than others I've hatched out before. I just need to focus on the side of this. Still not focusing fantastically. The one weird one, a Sunglow Jag with a head on it that is something. I thought granite jag at the start, but it does have a bit of a bluish tinge. It could even be a ghost granite jag head on it. And not often you see albinos, I'll pull him out, with normal silver jag eyes, both sides as well. In video mode, I would have no idea. Let me have a look. Snakes going everywhere here. You always get one clutch, the bigger clutches, where they just want to come out of the tub faster than you can control them. I find it with Bredli all the time. They're always big clutches, and they just keep coming faster than I can control. Just do a bit of a camera check. We'll certainly get a few live cuts done this year now that we've got everything up and going again. Just having a bit of a play around with settings tonight. these guys back under for a little bit easier testing. The other one's not wanting to play under the camera very well. Starting to get that little crinkle look after a few days of being hatched, and I'll get rid of that egg skin in the next few days. I don't know if that's focusing any better or not. Just often a matter of finding the perfect length of where it wants to do what it's meant to do. That's a beautiful clean Xanthic, that one. Loving the contrast of the Xanthics these days. Funny, back in the day I always kept back the Ghost. Never really bothered too much with Xanthic stuff, and certainly regret it now. There's a lot of Xanthics that I'll let go over the years that I wouldn't mind having back. Mr. Traps. Yeah, those wrinkles on my hands, mate. That's many years of keyboard work right there. No paint on my hands, mate. Clean as. Well, that seems to be working a little better. Christy doing some Christmas shopping already again. Let me try and get this fancy one out. Look at this weirdo fella. That's a pretty cool snake. Interesting to see when it grows and colours up what exactly it turns out to be. Often these paradox chimera things are useless other than a pretty looking snake. But certainly get some cool colours and patterns popping out in these things. At first hatch, I actually thought that it was rubbed its head on a mouldy egg around it, which often happens. If only it wasn't a jag, Manny. It's actually two jags, I think. I think it's granite jag. The top, sun glow jag in the body. I've actually cut down a lot of the jag pairings over the last few years. The jag hate out there is strong. If people don't like Neuro, they should not play with jags, because in my experience, there is always the possibility of Neuro coming. So if you don't like Neuro, don't play jags. But a cool one, certainly one I've not seen in that sort of format before. This is that white one out of that clutch. Get him to chill out a bit. Just an odd pattern on the sides for what I've seen. Not interested at all in sitting still. Come on, Matty, you want to come back, I know it. You've been back before, you'll be back again. Sit still, snake. Fine then, don't. But most of the white ones from the first year of the triple head clutches, I kept everything that was white. With absolutely no idea what it could be. Some now have grown up, and you can see there's snow jags and normal looking snows with more pattern in them. But anything that's very white, no idea if it's a moon granite or moon granite jag. That will be a nightmare to work with until breeding to prove them out. So I think this clutch too. And that's it for now. Just the 4 clutches out already. Early days, plenty more to come. There's probably 20 odd clutches in the incubator this year, so we'll have plenty to have a little bit of a browse over. Try and get back to egg cuts. We had a year off last year with a lot of things going on, getting Reptile House up and going. I think that one, the white one, Matty, was definitely snow. I can see a lot of yellow up on the head already. So from what I've seen, you can sort of pick the snows early on. When you see one that's all white, even that doesn't guarantee you a moon. I've seen them turn yellow after 9 months. So until they're 12 months and clean white, I don't believe any of them are going to stay what they are. Denny, hello. Only 4. Yes, only 4 out so far. It's early days. Sorry, you've probably got 44 out already, being in Teresia. The blackhead's always a nice variety pack. It's a line I've worked with for a while, held back some good stuff, and bred it again. And I'll probably look to outcross this line, get a different female head maybe, and bring some new blood into the line. I think it's been many years of down the one path. Last year I had a couple that had some weird tails and few odd things going on, so I think it's good to bring in some new blood into the mix. So we'll probably find a nice reduced pattern female at some point to move in. Yeah, Matty, you know you want. I only have the Xanthics, that's all. I started with a pair from Dave Raptor, Raptors Reptiles, long time ago, and grew them up, bred them, kept back some of the babies and grew them up. These are the babies of the babies. Sold a few off over the years. I only have 1 pair now. At one stage I was getting quite a lot of blackheads lurking in there. They're an extremely frustrating animal to get feeding more than my patience level allows. So I've tried a couple of different methods of the ones that don't eat, force feeding them weekly, quails, skinks, everything to try and get some of them going. And they are, for me, a very tough species, certainly much harder than carpets. I've had other people tell me theirs are much easier to get going. Certainly some just hook straight on, but being an animal that does not eat rodents in the wild, as babies, they're certainly not that interested in smashing away at rodents straight off the bat. Once they get going, absolutely unbelievable feeders. They just devour everything around them, chew on the side of the tub, and carry on like lunatics. But in the early part, they just don't care and are not interested at all. So it can be tough, and I'm not sure if that's related to how long this line's been line bred. That's why I pretty much want to try and outcross and see if that improves that feeding situation, or whether the blackheads are just going to be a tough one as always. They're certainly a heartbreaking one when they don't get going, because they, for a big-bodied snake, they don't go a long time without food. So you really got to push food into them to get them going. And still, they're deceptive, quite a tall body, and you think that they're going okay, and they fall over fairly quickly without decent food in them. But I think probably the best looking animal as far as pythons as a hatchling that they come out and look the absolute best they're probably ever going to look in their life. That super clean, real tidy pattern, nice colour. That pinkish colour goes away, obviously replaced with plain white base colour, but they certainly look their best as a hatchie, and it goes slowly downhill forever. By 2 years old, some of those markings down their back tend to bleed out. Some of them certainly stay super crisp, very clean. A couple of my adults that are the holdbacks from the first lot, sort of light greyish down their back in between some of that pinstriping. They've held up very well, but many you see get very washed out and not beautiful at 5 years old. So yeah, Matty, beautiful, rewarding snakes once they're up and going. Most of them pretty well behaved. My boy Cassius, the old fella, is a beautiful snake. You open his tub, he just comes out and he always just goes straight to your face, wants to climb on your shoulders and check out stuff. But when they're in food mode, they carry on a bit. They're straight away onto everything that moves around them. But generally, once they know it's not food, hook them out of the tub. They're generally very placid. They're such a big, dopey snake. They certainly are nothing like carpets. They don't climb, and they will not hold you. If you're carrying them, they will slide straight off your hand, straight to the ground with a massive thud, rather than make any attempt to try and support themselves. Mr. Carpet Pythons, my mate is missing, yes. He is at the gay bar, I think. I don't know. Is Denny gorgeous? Add 3, yes. You will never add 1 of anything. Much like myself, there is no 1s ever. It's 2s, 3s, 4s, or 5s. Yeah, Corey, they're a frustrating species, mate. It's people sell them too early too, I think. Something to be wary of when you're looking at buying blackheads. Make sure they're really well established. If they're not feeding well, they are going to give you a real pain in the ass. Force feeding them, I've found, does not keep them going forever. I've had them, pushing food into them for 6 months, and because they're quite a large body snake, so you can get a big pinky rat sort of pushing towards a velvet rat into them. They'll take it. They just don't seem to grow, and it's almost like their body consumes faster than to try and keep them alive. They just fade away. They're one that really needs to get going early, or they're going to be a problem. They also had an issue with some of them. I know my niece and I talked about this many years ago. Some of them get a very strange, like a egg yolk buildup in their gut, and they have a very hard, like you can feel it through their body, like a hard deposit that is stuck in them, whether it's egg yolk dried up inside them or some other calcium blockage or something. But I've seen that a few times over the years with them, and that one is always a problem. I've tried massaging it gently. I've had them bleed after I've massaged it, so I guess it's tearing or ripping inside them. I've tried to force those lumps out, and almost always does not go well. So anything that is born with those problems generally does not get over them. And I find those ones also never want to eat. Probably with a blockage inside them, I guess they just don't feel like food's going to help it. So yeah, Corey, they are a pain sometimes to get going, but Michael Ward, g'day mate. How heavy out of the egg? They would be at least twice the weight of a carpet python. They're very heavy bodied. Like you can pretty much, if they're the ones that do want to eat or eat fuzzy rat straight out of the egg, no problem at all. Even adult mice aren't too much of a problem for them. They get them down pretty quick. But it's the ones that want to eat them's the problem. Yeah, Matty, certainly hook training helps them a lot, mate. I use a hook for everything to try and tell it it's not food time, do not kill me. But I find, as soon as I put a hook underneath mine and lift them, straight away they realise it's game over. They just try and run away. They don't want to be messed around with. Corey, I only have the Xanthics, mate, so I'm not sure what happens with regular blackheads. I've talked to other people that say mixed stories, and I think it's probably all blackheads because they're just not a species that's interested in rodents at a young age in the wild. So I doubt in captivity really they're any different. It's not their preferred third item. So I've often wondered, it's not really talked about so much in the hobby, but for me, being honest, they're one that I have more trouble with anything else with, and more hatchies die than I would like with these things. So you have 10 in a clutch, you get 6 or 7 going. It's heartbreaking and frustrating. I think a lot of breeders don't talk about it and just sweep it under the carpet, that it never happens. But it's probably why we've never seen a lot of Xanthic blackheads, pumping out there in the hobby. I think if they were fantastic easy feeders like carpets, there'd be a whole lot more of them out there. But other breeders I have talked to reckon theirs feed fantastically too. So it goes back to maybe I think mine possibly too much line breeding over time and looking for some fresh blood back in. Yeah, Matty, never good when animals don't go well, especially when they become more pets than anything. So, Mr. Livesley, how are you, buddy? Crystallized egg yolk. Yes, not a good thing in any. I've certainly seen it in other species too, but I've seen it in these blackheads far more common. Whether they just don't absorb or they don't digest it well out of the egg. I've tried all sorts of different things with incubation temps, putting them right up the top to have them warmer, putting them down the bottom. Colder, longer days, I've had them pip and cut eggs. I've left them all to go like this clutch, totally untouched, left it the entire time. They'll go closer to 70 days and let them all come out by themselves. I don't disturb them. I find they are a species, well, for me, that want to rush out of the egg all the time, which is more of a problem. I've grabbed them and shoved them back in eggs before to give them some more time. A trick Mr. Bourneman taught me: shove things back in eggs, wrap them up in paper towel and shove them in a little water dish and back in the incubator. The best place for them is back in that egg. If they can spend more time in that egg and absorb, detach from that egg sac, then they are far healthier once they come out properly. And blackheads, I find one that just dart out of the egg. I've had them tear off sacs and bleed to death. But it seems when they rush out of the egg like that, they're just not ready. And that's possibly where that egg yolk getting stuck inside them and not absorbed well may come from. Yeah, Matty, I get it a few with that train track pattern. There's last year there was a couple of crackers with that pattern. Phil Colvin forced me to sell one to him, and I mean forced. I was not interested in selling it to him, but he got a very nice one from last year. There's certainly a couple that pop out with that nice trainy pattern, and quite a few with the white chins. This year, most of them have got some white on their chin. Last year, there was a couple that had weird white patterns up on top of their head as well, which is weird. You could try and develop that. I don't know if you'd ever get an entire white head on them, but something cool to look for. Just a polygenic trait that you can breed into things and play with. Christy, Dad's keen. Maybe that's where your problem comes from, Christy. Dad loves it, you love it, Cody loves it. Generational problems. Mr. Livesley, my mum Bino had it. I saw you had some more of those popping out too, mate. Congrats. Fed 10 times, still went downhill. Yep. So I think sometimes when they have those issues, you can try and mask it and push things around it. But at the end of the day, they got odd issues. It's not going to last. Yes, the old blackheads, they're always a popular snake. I used to do 2 clutches a year, back to just the one pair now, mostly out of frustration from feeding. So, I just get what I get. The ones get going. They're a snake that sells instantly. As I used to do waiting lists and stuff. I don't bother anymore. They just, when they're ready, they go and they find new homes without any issue. If they weren't such a pain in the ass to feed, I'd probably do more, but they don't take well to abuse. Kind of find carpets, you can sort of rough them up a little bit with food and get them to snap and attack, and generally will trigger a bite, which then in turn triggers a wrap and roll. But blackheads, they don't play those games. They will just sit there and huff and puff and headbutt and carry on, and it just does not ignite them to grab. And I find that these things as hatchies, they rarely want to wrap on food anyway. They're very lazy feeders in the wild. They prefer just to grab stuff and pick stuff up off the ground and shove it straight in their mouth and get it down. I often find I put food in their tubs at night, and I've watched them, they'll just crawl up to it and literally grab its head and start chewing it down without any attempt to wrap, and hold the prey whatsoever. Which is fine. However they want to eat is good. And in time, they certainly get far better at doing a half-assed grab and wrap. You can see it's in them. They know they have to do it. They're just lazy, I think. But by the time they're sort of 6 months and raging, they get very aggressive on that grab and wrap. And as adults, they all do it. They all do a fantastic job of pushing and shoving their food around like lunatics. Just as hatchies, they are not that smart. Christy said maybe we can get one Pop's birthday. Oh, Pop's getting spoiled too. Love it. Corey, Seymour, Colicos. Yeah, I don't know, the Calico thing, they're around a lot more. It feels like 10 years ago there was a lot of stuff going on. Lots of them around. Maybe I just don't follow it enough, but it just doesn't seem like there is a lot around anymore. People making them. Maybe I just don't see it, but certainly a beautiful snake. But the wild one, the same. And overseas, you see the albino blackheads. I really haven't seen fantastic results breeding from those either. Certainly no expert on what's happening over there, but from the few times I've talked to breeders over there and asked a few questions, people not having a whole lot of success with the albino line, which is a shame. It's a stunning looking animal, and obviously that opens the door to, with these Xanthics, makes them double head, and we could see some snow blackheads down the line. Maybe someone over there's done it and got heads growing up. I'm not sure, but I haven't seen them. But all the stories I hear of the albinos are not great, and I would imagine if, for me, like these Xanthics are tough, maybe same issues with the albino line as well. But cool snakes all the same. Everybody loves those little blackheads. Very cool. They will just eat like normal snakes, and they will be much higher on my love list. Well, it looks like all the cameras and everything is back online, so we'll be back online soon enough. There's a couple of the double head pepper granite clutches I'm very keen to see. There's one that looked like I thought it might pip tonight, but it has not. So maybe tomorrow night, maybe Monday night, we'll see some of these double head clutches ready to go. It's probably my most anticipated clutches of this season. Yeah, Manny, it seems like the albinos, blackheads were, I don't know, it was at least 5 years ago, I thought. I would have thought they would have bred them and babies, would have been up to size by now. Yeah, but yeah, often happens with those things. You see projects like that appear and everyone loves them, and then they just disappear. So the problem's there, I'm sure. All right, guys. Well, that was just a quick catch-up, test and tune. So it looks like everything is restored to order here after many technology battles. So I'll wrap this one up, and no doubt I'll see you all in the next few days for some live cutting. So have a good night, everyone. We'll catch you soon.